Hi everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. Today I'm at Orr Acura here in Shreveport, Louisiana, and we're going to do a side-by-side comparison between the 2023 models of the MDX and the RDX. Taking a look from the front end, you're going to see some similarities and you're going to see some differences in the overall design. The diamond pentagon grille, a little smaller here on the RDX compared to what we have on the MDX. But they're both going to have that, what I like to call, in-motion look. I just like the way how everything flows outward from the nice large Acura badge here on the front end. One of the most obvious differences is going to be between the headlights. Both will have the jewel eye LED headlights, the LED daytime running lights, but the big difference you're going to notice here more than anything else is the location of the turn signal indicator. Here on the RDX, it's on the top of the headlight housing. On the MDX, it's on the lower portion. It's a little bit thicker and a little bit thinner and seems to be a little more elongated, coming around a little bit further right here on the RDX. And another difference that's going to be found here is right here. You don't have the air curtain, the active air curtain right here. But on the RDX, you do have the air curtain right here that is active. That's going to help improve aerodynamics, cutting down on drag, and this is where the air flows out. In fact, I think, hopefully I can give you a view where you can actually see daylight through the front end right there. I believe you can. And a difference between the hoods. Here on the RDX, you have the center bulge here that looks, well, it looks Acura-like. It just fits everything. The way that it flows up and kind of circles its way around here really gives it a nice look. You're going to have the rise here, and then it comes back down and works its way over to the side of the fender right here off of the hood. A nice look, but one thing that's pronounced and very different here is the center line in the center of the hood right here, kind of working its way up and fading away into the hood up there as we work our way towards the top. Also differences in the design of the lower grille down there, but the biggest difference you're going to notice, let's see if I can give you a good view of it. The overall design of those LED fog lights. Notice the difference. They match the headlights up there a little bit more. Over here on the MDX, they've actually kind of narrowed things up. Gives it a nice look, but tell me what you think about that. Overall, a very nice look on either vehicle, but those are some of the differences as far as that particular area goes. And answering a question that I know many of you have, turn signal indicators, are they built into the side view mirrors? Absolutely. You can see the longer version right here as far as the overall design on the RDX, a little bit smaller. Basically the same size, but not as long. It doesn't move its way as far into the mirror itself as does what's on the RDX over there. And obviously the size of the mirror is a little bit different. You're going to have a larger mirror here, which fits because this is the larger of the two SUVs compared to the smaller mirror, not by a lot, but it is smaller here on the RDX. Body colored door handles on both. Now, one thing that I do like here, even though there are some pronounced differences in overall design, here on the RDX, with this area down here on the door sill, you've got the black trim, gloss black trim on the front and partially into the rear door back here. That really sets things off. Easier to see, obviously, right here, but we do have something similar over here on the MDX as far as that trim goes on the door sills down there. Very nice body lines, the way everything flows. It really gives the vehicle, just like the front end with that pentagon, diamond pentagon grille, you're going to have that in-motion look on the exterior, really from front to rear. Now you might expect some big differences between tire and wheel size. Not so much. 255 on the width here on the RDX. It's going to have a 45 series sidewall wrapped around a 20-inch wheel. Keep in mind, both of these are A-specs. And the difference here on the MDX, we're going to again have 255 on the width and a 50 series sidewall in this particular case, and 20-inch wheels is what we're going to find. Let's talk about the differences between what you will find under the hood. Here on the RDX is going to be the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It makes 272 horsepower, mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission, and obviously going to be the better gas mileage. Let's take a look at what those numbers are. 22 city, 27 highway, 24 combined, and 4.2 gallons of gas per every 100 miles you drive. Now, if you don't like a turbocharger, you can go with the 290 horsepower 3.5-liter 6-cylinder that's under the hood of the MDX. If you're saying to yourself, that's not enough, there's also the 3-liter turbocharged engine that is available, the Type S, that makes 355 horsepower. Now, what about the differences in MPGs between these two motors? One turbocharged, one naturally aspirated, as what we have here. 19 city for the MDX, 25 highway, 21 combined, and 4.8 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. And by the way, I did tell you that you have a 10-speed automatic transmission here with the RDX. The same applies with the MDX, no matter which engine you have under the hood. And here on the rear, we're going to find the LED taillights, the nice exhaust finishers coming out on both sides are going to be dual, and then we'll have the rear diffuser right here. And a big advantage every time, the power tailgate, that's going to be easy to use. Multiple options for opening that, including on the remote. Speaking of the remote, let's talk about that. Here's what you have for the RDX. We're going to have, obviously, lock, unlock. You can open the rear tailgate. There's what it looks like. Nice gloss black finish on there, a little bit of chrome on the side. What about cargo capacity? 28.5 up to 59.8 cubic feet of cargo capacity. Got a little space under the floor right there, space right here. And you can lower these rear seats a couple of different ways. You can use the releases right here on the rear cargo area, or in the rear cargo area, I should say. Or you can pull the latch right here, the release, and lower them that way to maximize your cargo capacity. And a little bit of a different look here on the rear as far as the taillight design goes. Still LED, but notice the difference in the exhaust outlets. Obviously, those are very different compared to the round version that we saw on the RDX. A little bit better look here. I think it looks a little bit more racy, a little more performance oriented. Even the rear diffuser having a different look. One thing that you'll find here that is not going to be different is going to be the fact that it does have a power tailgate, just as we saw over on the RDX. And let's talk a little bit about cargo capacity. We will have, again, the space underneath the floor right here, just like we saw with the RDX. Quite a bit of space under there. We're going to also have the space over here on the side. There's going to be a 12-volt power outlet. And your cargo capacity is going to range between 18.1 up to 95 cubic feet. Probably no surprises there as far as the fact that, well, basically it's a larger SUV. You can maximize cargo capacity here by lowering all of the seats. Makes things very simple. Something else that you will find on both models. Let's just say somebody walks up and says, you know what, I think that rear door is too high for me. On both models, all you're going to do is pull this rear tailgate down to, or push it up to, the level where you want it. You're going to hold this button down and listen for the beeps. Now, we'll close that down, and what you're going to notice is that when I open it back up, it's going to stop where I just set it. So if you're curious about that, there's nothing in the interior, nothing in the infotainment screen, nothing like that. That's how easy it is to reset the height of this power tailgate on both vehicles. And taking a look in through the RDX rear passenger door on the left-hand side, we're gonna have some Alcantara right here, red contrast stitching, soft touch materials. How soft is that? Well, you'll have to take my word for it. It's pretty soft. Gonna have some chrome accent and brushed aluminum on the door handles right there. And both models will have the panoramic sunroof. A very nice look here. We're going to have the latch system for both. Let's see if I can get that down. The thing I like here is that it's just a Velcro piece of material that conceals away the latch system. There's no covers to keep up with, little plastic pieces or anything like that that you have to keep up with. One thing that is definitely going to be consistent throughout both is going to be plenty of rear passenger room. A lot of leg space. You can see right there, I've got plenty of headroom. I'm good with that. And taking a look here at the rear of the center console, I have the dual air conditioning vents and the dual USB ports. Now, let's walk over here and take a look at what the MDX has, because there is one big difference here. But before we get to that, let's take a look at what we have as far as the door panel goes. We're going to have a nice, comfortable armrest here again. Sometimes when you push down on that, you feel like, wow, that's kind of hard. But when you put your arm on there and give it the arm test, not so bad. We'll have the shades right here, the privacy shades that can be put in place. And then we're going to obviously have, well, one of the big differences here is you can push this button on the seat. Let me show you what I did right there. Very simple to do. To get into the rear seating area, just push that button right there. Well, let's see. Let's push it one more time. Make sure I push it hard enough. And the seat automatically slides out of the way. And the good thing about that, seeing how that seat slides, these seats can be repositioned to help with leg room here in the rear seating area. So let's hop inside here and see what that's like. Now we're going to minimize leg space. You know, it's not bad. I'm kind of cramped up here, but I could be okay back here for a little while. And the big question, it's a little windy today, so I'm going to have some crazy hair, but there's what I have as far as head space goes. If you're over 5'10", you might want to consider sitting in the middle row, but just to show you what's back here, and then you're going to find a cup holder right here. The kids will be happy back here, but if the adults need to sit back here, it's not out of the question. It can be done. And that's how easy it is to get the seat back out of the way, push the button right there, it automatically moves forward. And moving back to the middle row area, again, quite a bit of leg room here. We're gonna have a little bit more going on here with the rear air conditioning vents. You can control everything here. There's going to be dual USB ports right here, as well as the power outlet right there. The 12-volt power outlet is going to be there. But the big difference that I alluded to earlier is going to be found right here. The first thing you're going to do is pull down on that release. That exposes the cup holders right here for the middle row passengers and an area for snacks and whatever they want to put in there. But there's another release right here that allows this seat to come completely out. All right, guys, as you can see right here, there's the seat. I'll show you what you have right here. It creates a pass-through of sorts, but that's really not the end goal. It's going to increase cargo capacity and just make it more flexible to take care of the rear area back here or take advantage of the rear area back here, depending on what your situation is. Obviously, that's going to be a very big difference between the MDX and the RDX. And now we take a look at the front seat area, looking through the passenger side door on the RDX. Going to have nice materials here. Again, the Alcantara, the red contrast stitching, and I have that same material here. Comfortable armrests, a little bit more door bin size right here. I didn't really show you the door bin in the rear, so let's take a look at that. There is a reasonable amount of size here for the door bin. As far as the rear seat area goes, I like the fact that the armrest doesn't come all the way forward, so that does give a little bit of extra space where that is concerned. Power seats for the driver and the passenger. We're going to move that seat back just a little bit. Noticing we have a couple of different places with the a-spec logo, not only on the floor mats right here, but also on the door sill. And we'll hop on inside and take a look at how things look here. As far as the air conditioning vent goes, surrounded by the gloss black, and a continuation here, the Alcantara, the red contrast stitching. But I like the fact that when you look at the air conditioning vents here on the area that surrounds the infotainment center and the air conditioning controls and all that good stuff, it's really a nice look. It's just vertical is all it is, but it gives it a different look. It matches the contour of the dashboard. You can see that even mimicking what we see on the exterior of the vehicle as well. Now, I know the one thing where people might have a knock of sorts. Push button shifter. What do you think about that? Do you like it? Do you not? What are your thoughts? We're going to have all of our air conditioning controls up here for the dual zone climate control. Obviously, it's tri-zone climate because you have dual in the front, single in the rear. And you're going to have your ventilated and heated seats. Yay for that. Unlike with Hondas, most Hondas these days, you don't have to be in Canada to have ventilated seats. We need that here in Northwest Louisiana, where I am. We'll work our way down here. We'll look at some other things as we move into the driver's seat in just a little bit. But this area, obviously, you can conceal that away. You can reveal the cup holders right here, and then you're going to have the USB right there, a little bit of space right here, and we're going to have the auto stop start feature right here that you can turn off if you want to. I think that is a good idea to always do that. And then down here within the center console, a good bit of space for the size of SUV that we have. We're going to have the sunglass holder up here. That's always useful. I seem to be seeing that on fewer and fewer vehicles in this day and age. And besides the differences in the interior color selection, obviously, we're going to see some differences in the overall look here as well. Again, a larger door bin here in the front area. I like this area being open right here where the armrest doesn't come all the way to the front. That makes a big difference. Comfortable. And then again, the same setup as what we saw with the a-spec logo in the same places. Power seats for the passenger and the driver. But being that this is the newer model of the two, fully redesigned, look at that. You're going to have the seat memory for the driver and the passenger here. So you know if it's on the passenger side, it's going to be on the driver's side. A lot of gloss black here. Varying opinions on that, just like on these push button shifters that both models have. What are your thoughts? Do you like the gloss black? If you don't have kids, that's going to be a lot easier to keep clean, or if you have well-disciplined kids. And obviously, I don't really have to tell you too much about what is here. I know we didn't look at the glove box on the RDX, but both have decent sized glove boxes and quite a bit here. You're going to have the USB ports right there that can be concealed away. And then right over here, turn that auto stop start feature off again if you want to. Now, you won't conceal away the cup holders and everything here. I don't know that that's really a big deal to anybody. Wireless charging right here. And then within the center console, quite a bit of space there, more connectivity. We're going to have the USB and a 12-volt. Good bit of space in there for sure. Comfortable armrest. Both vehicles will have the multitasking lid for the console, as I like to call it, because it's the lid and it's an armrest at the same time. And giving fair time to both vehicles, yes, there is a sunglass holder here in the MDX, if I don't get tongue twisted, just as there is in the RDX. And taking a look in through the driver's side door on the RDX, we're going to have seat memory on the driver's side only, not on the passenger side like you do on the MDX. But I don't know if that's a big deal to most people. We're going to have all the typical controls and functionality here for windows, door locks. You can lock the windows and control the power side view mirrors as well as the power tailgate. What you won't find here is the control for turning on and off the child safety locks. So here's the deal. This is going to be the same way on both models. The way you activate and deactivate those are here on the rear doors. So the child safety locks are inactive when this is in its up position. When you throw the switch into the down position, they are active. And it is per door, so you can do that on one door or both doors, but you only control it on one door at a time. So let's hop inside. You're going to get the Acura greeting. Let's see if we can get that to happen. Here we go. And I'll reach over here and hit the push button start. Now the thing here is that even though the RDX hasn't been fully redesigned since 2019, you still have a very modern looking instrument cluster. The steering wheel mounted controls, nice large brushed aluminum steering wheel mounted paddle shifters for controlling that 10-speed automatic transmission. And we're going to also have our driving mode selector right here. I wanted to wait to start the vehicle before I showed you that. So what's going to happen is we go through all of our different driving modes. And as you do, whether it's in snow, comfort, normal, or sport, you're going to notice the animated graphics that come up. looks very nice, actually. I think Acura has done a really good job here. Now, in case you're not familiar with the Acura brand, where I'm sitting, you notice I can't reach all the way and touch that screen? It's not a touch screen. See, that Monk would be happy because, well, there's not going to be any fingerprints. At least there shouldn't be any fingerprints on there. But you will control everything here via the trackpad. So we're going to hit home right there. And all you're going to do is just basically just use your finger right here. Now the thing is that when you select something like that, you're actually going to have to push down like this to gain access to everything. And we're going to turn that down so we don't get a copyright hit. But just want to show you how everything works. Very easy to use. Obviously, you're going to have the backup camera, and the sensors are going off, the parking sensors, because we're so close to the RD or the MDX over there. But you can see the multiple camera views right here. We do have several of them. I'll show you what they are. I apologize for all that noise right there, but there's just not much I can do about it right now. You can also see your parking sensors letting you know what's going on. We'll go back into park just so we don't annoy anybody. But essentially, that is the driver's side of the RDX. Let's see what the differences are across the way with the MDX. And just so you can see that I was being honest with you, here's the control for turning those child safety locks on and off here on the MDX. We'll go ahead and open the driver's side door and take a look at what we have. Pretty much a mirror image as far as the functionality here goes, but you'll notice a little bit more of an angle here on this area, as well as the rear of the armrest right there. Again, we're going to have the seat memory right there, and we're going to see quite a few differences in this case. But let's go ahead and start everything up. Let you listen. Same thing we had on the RDX. Let me move that out of the way. There is one thing I forgot to show you over there, but it's going to be the same on both. But you will see a big difference. Something that's not the same is going to be the new updated instrument cluster. That, for 2022, even though both look nice and modern, I have to go with this one for my personal preference, just because I like the way it looks. It's a little more modern. You're still going to have the nice large shifter paddles in brushed aluminum, controlling your 10-speed automatic transmission, steering wheel mounted controls. A lot of this is the same here. The a-spec logo down here and the brushed aluminum surround the trim on the different areas of the steering wheel. And then we're going to have the same setup here. We're going to have our different driving modes, but obviously a little bit of a different look because you have a different vehicle. We'll go down here to Sport, and then I forgot to show you that you do have individual. Going to be the same on both. You're going to push the button right there, or you can work your way back up and do whatever you want with that. What about the rear camera? Well, there's what you have. Again, we're going to have the parking sensors going off right there. And it is going to be the same here as far as having the trackpad to manage everything. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's not a touch screen, just like we showed before, just so you know. So that's going to be the situation here. I don't know that a lot of people are that worried about that particular subject, but just in case, we're going to go into park so we can turn that back off. But depending on who you are, well, the situation could vary, I guess. You will have navigation built in here. A lot of this is going to be the same with both vehicles. So we're really just kind of showing you what's here, but it is the same system with the trackpad. Everybody has their preferences. Do you like the trackpad? Do you not? What are your thoughts on that? So a very simple system to use. Once you get used to the trackpad down here, again, Monk would be so happy. And what was that one thing I was talking about that I didn't show you on the RDX, but it's on both vehicles? We're going to shut the engine off right here. I'm going to push that button, and here is what happens when you get out of the vehicle. Kind of just Acura's way of saying goodbye. And there you go. A tour comparing the Acura RDX and the Acura MDX to one another. Tell me which one you favor and tell me why. If you plan on buying one of these models, I'm always curious to know what your thought process is and what are the key foundational reasons for your decision. I gotta say a special thanks to my friends here at Orr Acura for loaning me both of these models for the day. If you want to know more about either the MDX or the RDX that I featured or other models here, I'm going to leave links in the description of this video to each one. You can check those out and come into the dealership and talk to somebody about that. Tell whoever you talk to that you talked to Tom from Vehicle Visionary about these vehicles, or that you found out about them from me. That will be helpful to everybody. Got to say a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn about other models you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.